So after the last video, there's a thought that kept bothering me about the stability concept. And one of the reasons we misuse the word stability is because often you're trying to describe something else entirely. And that's, I think, where the mismatch becomes in rehabilitation language in particular. So many times I believe the issue becomes that there's a confusion in language between stability and laxity. So one of the reasons I think the word stability is so confusing in rehabilitation is because it's used when people are actually talking about something else. And many times that something else they're trying to describe is laxity. And those are different, they're completely different properties of the system. A joint can be lax without being unstable. So people can have joint laxity but still be able to display stability just fine. And a joint can be very stiff with a little laxity, and a person can struggle mightily to control movements under load. So they're different problems. So think about, like an elite gymnast. Many of them have tremendous passive joint laxity. Shoulders, wrists, hips, spine. But would you call them unstable? No, they're lax. Because their ability to organize themselves with incredibly demanding conditions and constraints is crazy, right? So think about someone who has normal ligament integrity, but they can't control a landing. They struggle to change any direction. They lose their balance when they step off a curb. They can't stand on one foot. They have little laxity, but they have poor capacity for movement. So again, these are different problems. And this happens with language all the time, and things unintentionally get collapsed into several different ideas that try to get covered under one word. So if a clinician says to you, your shoulder is unstable, what do they actually mean by that? Do they mean that the ligaments are mechanically insufficient to hold your arm into place? Because that'd be laxity. Do they mean that the muscles around it are quick to fatigue? They mean that your nervous system isn't able to create or to coordinate the forces efficiently and effectively to do the tasks we're asking you to do? Or they simply mean that the person isn't yet capable of doing something that we're asking them to perform? And these are all different explanations, and they are all likely going to lead you towards a slightly different variation on an intervention to help the person solve the problem. So let's separate out stability into three broader ideas. Passive instability. So this would be restraints that you don't really have active control over. Ligaments, the joint capsule, your anatomical shape of your joint, those are going to become passive stability. Active stability is going to be more of your muscles around the joint, the tendons, the nervous system supporting everything. And that's, active stability is more about how you can generate and coordinate forces. And then we'll use the word functional stability. Can you do something that matters? Can you run, lift something up? Can you jump in the air? Can you land? Can you pick up your kids and carry them? Can you go out and play tennis without hurting yourself? Can we get you back to work, a physically demanding job? And those are the things that more functional stability are the things that people care about returning to more than anything. So something important is that these things don't all kind of move together in the same direction. Someone can be passively lax and have exceptional function, Somebody can have very little laxity in a joint, but they can struggle to solve any novel movement problem that you give them. So using the word stability as this blanket explanation many times can lead you down the wrong path of how you're going to help the person get past the issue they came to you with. And The other reason this matters is language, that language we use with patients becomes part of the intervention when we're going to prescribe something. So if I tell someone your ankle is unstable, that contextual effect is leading them, I said this in the previous video, but that leads them to wonder, is their ankle unsafe? Is it damaged in some way? Is it going to give out on them? And that's when you have to start changing your language a little bit around these things and think more along the lines of, is the thing I'm asking you to do more than your ankle can currently handle? Or I don't think your ankle's quite ready for this level of movement yet, so we'll get back to it later. And those are subtle differences, but you don't want to get in the habit of labeling the person and their problem, because that just leads them to worry. We got to think more about labeling the relationship between them, their current capacity, and what we're asking them to do, because that's something that sounds like we can build a plan to improve. The other thing sounds like semi-permanent, like my ankle's unstable. Well, what does that mean? How do we fix that? The other one, there's a training effect that goes into play, so we have a path. There's the important distinction, though, and there are situations in like orthopedics where they have true mechanical instabilities. So these are different. Again, different language describing different problems. ACL gets ruptured. We have a mechanical instability of the knee. Shoulder dislocates. We have a mechanical instability of the shoulder. We have severe ligament damage to the point where they're no longer holding a joint together. That's different. They're not doing their job anymore. So mechanical instability is called that, and it's an exact definition of what you're seeing. But I'm not worried about those situations, because those are likely going to require some higher level intervention than what I'm doing anyway. The concern is how often we use the word stability in rehab when we really mean something much less precise than that. So when you're working with a person, you don't think along the lines of, how do I make this joint more stable? Think more along the lines of, what does this person need to become more capable of doing? Rehabilitation just shouldn't stop at protecting the joint. It should end with creating independent people who are capable of solving novel problems on their own that life is going to put in front of them no matter what we do. And those are the kinds of things that really matter, and that's the kind of stability that we're really trying to work towards.